Welcome to the Contractors Secret Weapon Radio Podcast, the show dedicated to helping contractors, remodelers, painters, roofers, and others in the construction industry gain an unfair advantage over their competition. Get ready for some inspiration, some encouragement, some proven business building strategies, and a couple of new ideas that can take your business to the next level and beyond. And now, broadcasting from the Contractors Secret Weapon Studio, it's Pete Mitchell and Dave Negri.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Contractors Secret Weapon. This is your co-host, Dave Negri.
And this is Pete Mitchell. Another co-host.
Another co-host.
I love it, man. I love it. Hey, before we get into this, I gotta share this story. Well, I guess I shouldn't say before we get into it. I got something perfect for us to get into.
Sure. So
this last weekend, my son, I got an 8-year-old son, he had a friend who was having a birthday party, and my daughter, I got a 4-year-old daughter, and she had a birthday party as well to go to, and my wife's like, which one do you want to go to? They're going to have a Nerf war with Nerf guns. And hers, it's a bunch of people you don't know. I'm like, gee, let me think about that.
They said guns, right?
Yeah, no, right? You had me at guns. So we show up, and it's really cool. It's this company called Mobile Strike Force, and they've basically cornered off a part of the park, with a little just a net fence around it, like a camo net fence around it. So that way they don't have to go chasing all over the park for the little Nerf bullets. And they got all the waivers there, and all the kids are stoked, and they have just boxes and boxes of Nerf guns. And so they're just, the kids are having a great old time, just shooting left and right. And so I'm looking at this thing because right in front of the area was a what do you call those signs? Like what you'd use when you're working on a job and you'll put a sign out,
Yeah, 20, yard sign.
Yard sign. There you go. Yard sign. So they just had like a basic yard sign with hey, these are some of the things you can use this for, like birthday parties, school carnivals, community events, bachelor parties, corporate events. Basically, they're throwing out the idea because who thinks to themselves, I need a Nerf war? But they are thinking, you know what? My kid's got a birthday party, or the school's got a carnival coming up, or we got a bachelor party, or we need a corporate event, And so I loved how they were like marketing to the event that you might want them at. So I'm like taking a picture of it. And so I start talking to the mom who's, it was her kid that was having the birthday. And I'm like, what caused you to do this? Like, who knows about somebody who's got this, traveling Nerf gun arama? And she's like, we have those movies in the park, which our community has these movies in the park thing. And she goes, they had a booth there, like just much smaller than obviously they had here at the birthday. And they were just letting anyone in there shoot around all they wanted. And they just had these little cards out and, mentioned that they do them for birthday parties. And I immediately took a card thinking I'm going to do it for Jackson's birthday.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, that's brilliant, because how many people are going to look at that movie in the park and go, well, why would I go set up there? Why would I have anything there? You have it there because there's traffic there. There are people there. And you could steal the traffic of someone else's event. In this case, it just happened to be a community event. But we're coming up on that time of year, at least where I'm at. We've got all kinds of October events. Then you got all the winter festivals. A lot of them have booths at it. A lot of businesses go to them. I'll give you an example here. We got this winter festival, and stop me if I talked about this, because I've talked about this so much lately that I can't remember if I talked about it on the podcast. This winter festival, they let all the businesses, it's done by the city, they let all the businesses in the area get a booth, and I don't know what it costs, but it doesn't matter, because thousands of people in our city go to this event, like literally thousands. It's packed every year. And most of the businesses that are there are just handing out candy, right? Because all the kids are there because it's Halloween. They want the free candy. And I'm looking at this thing going, okay, you've got an opportunity here. What if, and I was telling this to two other groups. I told a bunch of realtors they need to do this. And then I work with another group of pastors, and I was telling them they need to do this for their churches. Instead of being like the chiropractor who's, I'm giving out candy, and, there was a nail polish who was giving out these little bottles of blue nail polish, which I ended up taking home, dropping on the floor, and ruining my bathroom. Now it has a big blue stain on it because of the nail polish, right?
Yeah, so you need to drop a couple more on there and make it psychedelic.
Yes. I If I was okay with a divorce, sure, I'd do that. But yeah, so I mean, bottom line is like that's what companies are thinking. Oh, I'm just going to hand out my stuff, and I'm like, look, okay, let's say you're a roofing company. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to hand out shingles? No one wants a shingle. I mean, that doesn't work.
I had something pop in my head for painters, and it's off the wall, and it's weird. And
I want to hear it.
That get people to memorize memory. It's your memory. I was just thinking about getting a booth, being a painting contractor, and having paintball guns, and you paint your own picture.
Oh, there you go.
Just
I
something
like it.
different, And it's just something different that would make you stand out. You're not really, and you have all your cards and stuff there, but just make it a fun event.
Yeah.
Do little poster boards and
right.
Just have them shoot them, let them take them home with you, and on the back you've got your card stapled to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, what I was telling, an easy thing to do is I'm like, look, for both realtors and pastors, churches, rather, I should say, it's not just the pastor that's doing this, contractors, one of the things that you could do at those events that would work like gangbusters is you have a photo booth. And you take your booth and you just create a backdrop. It's got to be a cool backdrop. And you can do a couple of things. What I've seen some people do is they just go to the store. They go like to the 99-cent store and they buy like all those funny hats and the fake mustaches and the little things that you can put over your eyes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you could buy all that and just people create their own little family pictures. Or the second thing is you could bring in basically characters. So like at Halloween, you could have Jack Skellington. At Christmas, you could have Santa Claus. You could have Mrs. Claus. You could have Rudolph. You could have anything like that. Like, because of even Halloween is a great example. You could have like stormtroopers. Like, it doesn't even have to be anything like that. It could just be something cool like Star Wars or whatever the hot movie is, which I don't know what it is in October, but come up with something like that. And then what I was telling both of these groups is I would set up a camera, get a professional photographer to do this, or someone who looks like a professional photographer. Key is it's not an iPhone, right? Like it's got to look like a real camera,
right?
And you have a sign-in form, and you go, look, we're going to give you the digital version of your pictures. We're going to send them to you. I need you to fill out this form so we can send them to you after the event. And so at the top of the form, it's got a little box where you put in their session number, session 18, whatever. And then you ask for all their information, their name, their email, their phone number, their address. And then on this form at the bottom, you say, oh, and by the way, we happen to have these consumer guides. Check off any that you'd like us to send you. And that's where you would have, 7 biggest mistakes that people make when roofing their house or getting their home re-roofed.
Yeah, sweet.
Or, 3 biggest mistakes people make when painting their home and how to avoid them. Like, you have your consumer guide. So what we're doing is we're fishing out of this audience for our ideal customers. Now, no one has a problem filling out that form because you're going to give them free pictures. So to them, and they're looking at it going, this has got to be better than an iPhone, right? So even if it's not, that's why I say it doesn't, you have to look like a professional photographer even if you're not. And so you have, someone taking pictures, and then afterwards, and the reason why I do the session number thing, guys, is you have your photographer take a picture of the session number first, and then that family, all their photos. So that way you know who gets what photos, right? That just makes life easy on you. But you're going to end that thing with a few hundred families coming through your booth, and you're going to collect contact information on a few hundred families. And then out of those few hundred, you're going to have a list of people who would like the consumer guide, which means they are somewhat interested. Like there's something there. And then you can follow up with them later. And that's kind of what this Nerf guy did, right? He just was going to someone else's event, putting up a little booth there, letting people play with it, putting out his cards. The cool thing, and this was in my mind thinking outside of the box. So they had after all the kids were done, they said, okay, now it's parents versus the kids.
Oh,
so
sweet.
How many dads do you think go running in there to play? Every single one of them, right? And I mean, I'm nailing all the kids. I'm like, this is my jam, right? You guys picked my thing right here. And I guess there was a thing like when the kids were doing it, you weren't supposed to shoot them when they were reloading. So all the kids are like reloading. And all the parents are like, well, that's not my problem. You just didn't learn how to count right. So we'd still shoot them. We're like, I don't care if you're reloading. Of course, then the joke came up that, all this week when the kids start doing stuff, we're just going to say reloading, leave us alone. Yeah. But then I was like, this is brilliant because then they got all the flyers out there and the cards. But now all the parents are like, this is fun. Love to do this again. When my son's birthday's next, he's getting the Nerf gun war. I'm gonna talk my son into this. Like that's what people are thinking.
Now, did they collect names and birthdays there?
No.
I'm surprised.
They did have an online form that you had to fill out. A liability thing. So maybe my wife put it in. I don't know. I don't know.
That would be interesting. Yeah, because that's with everyone being there and all the different families, and this. You're always keeping your funnel full. Yes, exactly. Always.
Exactly. That's a really good point. They need to then put all that information into a database and then reach out to them. I don't know when people start to plan that stuff. I'd have to ask my wife because she's the one who plans all that for my kids. What is it, like a month before or something? So
I have no idea.
You start reaching out. Hey, you know what? This is Pete from Mobile Strike Force. We did the Nerf War party for Jackson's birthday. I know Luke's birthday is coming up. Have you already decided on your theme? Can we be of service to you in any way? And, find out.
And we'll help you make that decision with.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I was kind of surprised is they had this little flyer, right? So I picked it up because I'm like, dude, I'm so talking about this. This is great. A couple of things. I'm not sure if I would do this. So they had on the back of it, End Strike Elite Party, which is when you got kids age 7 to 13. And then they had the price, $2.99. And I was like, I don't know if I'd put the price.
Put the price in there.
Yeah. Besides that, parents are like, they'll spend all kinds of money. It's just stupid.
Right.
Rival Party, which is if they're 14 plus, that one was $3.49. So I don't know that I would put the price on there. And then here's the other thing. They've got this little thing on here, and it says 5% of all proceeds will be donated to Los Alamitos Education Foundation, LAIF, supporting academic and enrichment opportunities and STEM programs. I don't know that I would put that on. See, my whole take on when you're going to do promotions, you're going to help out charities and stuff like that. If it doesn't help me get business, then I don't usually promote it. Because if I'm going to promote it, I'm going to make sure that it gets me more business. Like, that's the point of me giving away 5%. And I don't know, having this on the little flyer, halfway down, right in the middle, that's not going to help you get any more business. So,
no, but I mean, if they're, and this is just a thought that came through my mind, is have like 1 or 2, maybe 3 charities on there and say, we'll donate to the one you pick.
Oh, that's good. That might actually help. Or, Amazon Smile, if you've ever used that.
Yeah.
You get to pick your charity, and basically any charity will work. And so what they've done is they've made it so any charity can use Amazon to receive money, and they want to get the charities to promote it. And that's the whole thing with this. Like, I would reach out to LAIF, and they're a local thing here in the schools, and I would say, hey, we're going to help you guys raise money. How can you help promote us to all your families?
Right.
And I would make sure I worked out a deal with them.
Yeah. Because believe me, that 5% is more than they get from the normal school fundraisers.
Right. Yeah.
When they sell stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's just, to me, I was like looking at it going, this is really cool. I love how they didn't just, quit and, okay, we got the deal. They had flyers up. They had business cards. They had the yard signs. I thought it was great. And I'll actually ask my wife and find out, did they ask for Luke's birthday? Do they have they done any marketing to you? Because I would love to know that. They got all those names. Why aren't they following up if they're not?
Yeah. Hopefully that's in their program.
Yeah, hopefully. And the thing is, I'm looking at it. It's a young family. I'm also looking at them going, this is brilliant for them. This is obviously a side hustle. This isn't their main gig. But I don't know if it's more expensive or the same as buying the bouncers, which a lot of people do as like their side gigs. They'll buy those $3,000 bouncers and rent them out.
You run a lot of them. You got to run them out a lot.
You do, to make up for the cost of it, and they're always getting beat up. So I'm torn on that as a side business. I mean, not that I would ever do it, but I'm just torn on it being like really worth the money or not. But this, I'm looking at it going, okay, I don't know. It just kind of depends on how quickly the guns break down, because they're getting beat up. I mean, guys like me are out there just. I was doing 2 guns at a time. Are you kidding? I mean, it's like, come on.
It was cheap.
Yeah, well, exactly. And but I mean, it was definitely a lot of fun. And this business will probably grow for this family. It was their little gig. I mean, what were they there? 3 hours or so? So, I mean, it could end up being like a really good gig for them. Yeah, for the follow-up business.
On a weekend or a holiday, you're in.
Exactly, right?
Sure does add to the
and it's a lot more fun, right? Because they're out there being refs. Like, literally, they wore orange. That was how you could tell.
Oh, did they? That's you didn't shoot them.
Yeah, so you didn't. Well, like, I mean, these are little kids, right? But
they shot everything.
Yeah, they're like, okay, you're out. And no one actually cared. So they tried to play capture the flag. The kids don't care. They're too young to care. They just want to shoot each other. And that was part of the brilliance of this business model, because the guy running it's like, I don't really care. If you guys are happy, I'm happy. I'm getting paid.
I'm here to make you happy.
Yeah. So it was really, really cool. But again, it just comes back to taking advantage of other people's foot traffic, right? He got that business because he was at the movies in the park, and there's all kinds of foot traffic everywhere else. Yeah. How can you tap into it? How can you take advantage of it? I think that's the lesson I want people to walk away with.
I think a lot of times, there's a lot of guys that just are so busy working in their business they don't think about the other stuff.
Yeah.
And you gotta make time. You gotta actually schedule time to do it.
To focus on it.
Yeah.
And it can pay off huge dividends. Huge dividends when you do. So
absolutely. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting. Did your son have a ball?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he did. Totally. And then especially when I would go chasing after him, I'm not kidding, man. At one point I was like, dude, I have gotten more exercise running around this stupid place than I have all week long. It'll wear you out, man. It'll definitely wear you out. But what I'll do for everybody who wants to see it, I'm going to put these the picture of a yard sign and the little flyers. I'm going to stick these up on the website at contractorsecretweapon.com with this episode. So if you want to see it, you want to get some ideas off of it, take a look at it and use it in your business. Ask yourself that question. How can I use this in my business? How can I take this concept, this idea, and apply it to my business? Because when you do that, that's when cool things start to happen.
Absolutely.
So anything you wanted to throw in today? I know I kind of dominated the talk.
That was pretty cool. I like to use other people's foot traffic. It's just, it's brainless. I mean, and there's lots of stuff, like you said, there's lots of stuff going on this time of year.
Yeah.
So just figure out what's going on in the areas that you want to work in.
Yeah. I mean, good night. When I was a benefits manager, we used to put on health fairs. And the health fairs had, all these other businesses. So some company would put on a health fair for your company. Uh-huh. And those businesses paid money to be there. And of course, they're trying to get you to, use them as a chiropractor or dentist or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but they never collected anyone's info. But if you had something fun, like let's say you even set up a little a laser tag or Nerf area. Oh, we got to have you sign the liability form. We need the liability form. Fill out. Yep. Give me your information, then we can let you in. And you collect their information and then market to them afterwards.
They're not saying, I'm not giving you my information. You're not shooting my gun.
Yeah, exactly. Then you can't come in here. It's a liability issue. I mean, whatever the excuse is. Oh, you want the family photo? Look, I'd love to send it to you, but I don't know where to send it. So I've had some people come to me and they go, well, Pete, I don't need to send it to him. I could do this to get it to him. And I go, no, you don't understand. Yeah. I'm not in the business of giving people pictures. I'm in the business of generating leads. It's not about me getting them the picture. It's about me getting their info. And yes, I will give them the picture.
Yeah, that's a thank you for giving me your information.
Exactly. Yeah. That's
everything comes with a price.
Exactly. It does. So anyway, that's what I had to share. And hopefully you guys will take that idea and implement it, especially this time of year. Sweet. And we'll be back next week with another great episode.
Another great episode.
Take care, everybody.
All right. See you later. Bye.